what was the thing you said? I can think of a million ways to tie it in. I can keep going, but there was something in particular I was going to
I
say.
was saying
It
that
was,
the because we take part in the creation, the energy needs to be recycled.
yes, yes. So, basically what the issue with what I find with that, with what you said, where what you say is that some energy is necessary for you to exist, and so therefore you must use that energy for positive experience. That creates that feeling of like obligation or like divine expectation that you must live up to, which can create a meta awareness of the fact that you're not living up to that expectation, which can create the clash between the expectation and reality, which creates a worse experience, right? It creates you dwelling on the fact that you're not living up to what God wants you to live up
No,
to,
I
the fact that you're
definitely see what you're saying.
not using that energy in the way that you should. And so that is what divine selfishness is for, where instead of trying to think about doing it for God, you literally just think about, I'm doing this because I want to feel the best, and the way to feel the best is just appreciate the present moment. But I do agree with what you're saying. Objectively, what you're saying is true. There is energy which was used to create you. That energy is already here. You might as well arrange it in the best possible order. That's basically what Framework talks about. But from a personal perspective, that's why divine selfishness is so good, because it doesn't make you focus on the fact that you're not living up to your
That's funny because like I'm
possibility.
seeing that idea in a new light after hearing you say that. Because a while back I had that like issue of like, all right, so I see that there's this thing that one I guess should do, and I'm not doing that thing, and so I feel the calling to do that thing, and thus the obligation or duty to do that thing, and so I feel obligated to do it because I'm obligated to do it, and then, but on the opposite side, I felt a calling to not do that at all, to like well, not necessarily a calling, but like it was the default state was to not do anything. It was to not be progressive. It was not to have a better day. It was to like just default state was to like what I was thinking of is like you have the will to taste, and that is searching for the most efficient thing. But there is a way that that can be reversed in the human mind, and it can
The
still be the
will
will to
to
taste, but it is
laze.
yeah. I was thinking the will to waste, and
Yeah, true,
it
real. That's even better. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, and it's just that calling to just not do anything productive and to actively, if possible, make it worse. And knowing that there's both sides of that, they're both. So then the idea was like, all right, so I don't want to be beta male and do the thing that I'm obligated to do because I'm obligated to do it. But I also don't want to do the thing that my ego wants to do because that also seems very childish and and
It's just like rebellious for the
unproductive.
nature of being rebellious.
Yeah, yeah, and then so then I got this connotation of a ronin who has no masters. So he's not doing something because he's called to do it, and he's not doing something because he wants to do it. He's doing something because or because he has a baseline desire to do it, but he does it because of like I guess appreciation of the situation, of the
A
awareness of what's
pure
going on.
divine selfishness, right? A pure self
Yeah,
motivation. He never acts out of obligation for anyone or anything. He purely acts at all moments to do
so
whatever
like, I'm
will
walking
make him
down this
feel the
path
best.
not because the path is laid out before me, but because it's a pretty sweet path, and I'll pave it if I need to.
So yes, exactly. And so like what that looked like over the past couple of days of my life is like I've been working out ridiculously, like to the point where obviously I've now fucking disabled myself, but like to the point where I was literally working out. I was hitting the heavy bag 3 hours a day or running 2 hours a day in 28-degree weather every day, for a full week. And the way I was capable of doing that, it never. I sent these messages in chat. Um, yeah, I talk about whenever we go over this call is going to be so vindicated because you'll literally see everything that we just talked about over the past 30 minutes. Everything that you just said is perfectly like encapsulated over my last week of messages on Voxer. But yeah, this concept of like, um, basically the whole thing you just said, the will to waste comes from a will to taste. So the will to waste is actually not its own. It's not its own thing. It's not even like another
No,
side of
I
something.
totally agree.
Yeah,
I
it's
made
horseshoe
that
theory.
discovery too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Whereas it's horseshoe theory. The fact is that what the will to waste is a meta awareness of the will to taste. If you're focused on the fact that you should be trying to achieve the waste, it's literally what I was just saying. It's literally Nick Mullen's bit about the fucking thing with the Africans. It's the same thing. Where if you're focused on the fact that you should be achieving the will to taste, then what are you doing? You're not fucking achieving the will to taste, and what are you doing? You're just wasting. Now you've kicked in the will to waste mode. Where now you're scrolling through Instagram, and what are you thinking about? You're thinking like, oh, I need to get off Instagram so bad. I need to go do anything else, please. Please just let me go do anything else. And then you just scroll again and scroll again and scroll again. And what do? You're trying to escape. You're trying to fucking escape the feeling of wasting time by just wasting more and more time. It's like fucking sitting down trying to eat a bag of fucking Doritos. You're like, oh my god, I need to stop eating these. And then you just fucking stress eat more Doritos. It's inconceivably retarded, and you have to stop doing that. And yeah, but yes, exactly, and that's the concept of like pure frameworks, right? Which is like what you were saying, the concept of the Ronin you were talking about. That's pure frameworks. That's what I've been working on for the past like month or two. That's what's led to all of these discoveries, including appreciation. Is the concept of like you have to go so deep into frameworks that there's nothing at the bottom. I sent this message yesterday or today, which was, what if truth was a woman equals what if there was nothing at the bottom of frameworks? And so it's like that concept that Nietzsche talks about, which is like, what if truth was a woman? What if there was no foundation, no ground rules? What if you couldn't write down truth on a piece of paper as some actual golden rule that fixes everything? What if truth was this wishy-washy liquid that it was completely dependent on its circumstances? What if it was all frameworks? What if it was all due to interpretation? What if there was nothing at the bottom? What if there was no framework that was you? What if, even though it was all frameworks, you couldn't find the perfect framework? There was no perfect framework. There was no individual framework that fixed everything. What if it was all just the process of frameworks unfolding? What if there was nothing at the bottom of frameworks? And that is the same thing as being the Ronin, because whenever you realize there's nothing at the bottom of frameworks, and you realize that there is nothing there's no point which you can ever stop, there's no level that you can identify with, there's no point of rest, there's only the choosing, um, the framework, right? The selection of the most useful framework. Once you realize that, then you can never get caught in the will to waste again, because every single moment which is thinking about wasting time is just appreciated, right? It's just evaluated upon its use, and then you then choose to do what instead of scrolling through Instagram and thinking about how much you wish you weren't scrolling through Instagram, you instead just think about what you should be doing and you go and do it. So instead of scrolling through Instagram and thinking, I need to get off Instagram, I need to get off Instagram, I need to get off Instagram, instead you just think you're scrolling through Instagram and then you think Instagram is nice. This is fun. I'm enjoying this. And then you think I could go hit the heavy bag, and then you just do. You just go hit the heavy bag. You go do it for 3 hours, and then while you're hitting the heavy bag, you're not thinking, oh fuck, I should just do it for another hour, another hour. That's not what you're thinking. You're thinking I'm enjoying hitting
Or
the
you're
heavy bag.
literally converting that momentum of that activity into the next thing rather than like trying to cancel it out and try and restart that up again. You're literally just like transferring the same thing into that other activity.
Yeah, and it's the classic retarded contradiction bullshit where it's like, obviously no one like trying to tell someone, hey, you know what you need to do to go work out? You just need to never think about working out again and never focus on working out. Like, obviously it's the most retarded contradictory advice to ever give anyone ever. But that's what the whole framework thing is explaining. But it is, I mean, that is truly what it is, where it's like the only the but like the times in my life that I work out for 3 hours are not